Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Documentary Club. I'm Jeff Jones. Hope everybody's having a good week out there, enjoying everything here at Documentary Club, talking about another documentary, a new week, a new documentary. I hope you guys had a chance to check out the video. If not, check it out on the YouTube channel. Jailbreak Love on the Run, where Jack and I break down what happened in the documentary. But for today, we're going to be talking in a live with some people, Jack and Katie and Susan, regular panelists, to talk about this really exciting documentary, Jailbreak Love on the Run. I want to give a shout out to Becca Chu in the chat. Thank you so much for joining, Becca Chu. She says, "Hey everyone." Nice hey back to Becca Chu. I think Becca Chu is from Arizona or lives in Arizona or has a connection to Arizona. And we were just talking about dates.
Yeah, she lives there.
Oh, she does live there in Arizona. And we were talking about harvesting dates in Arizona. And I thought, dang, I need to move to Arizona and harvest dates. She lives in Arizona. This is what I thought. I thought so, but I wasn't, I hate to speak out of school, so I can never say anything with any level of assurance because I don't want to be told I'm wrong. No, I'm just joking.
Let me just say, you wouldn't enjoy it in July and August for sure.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. It's a little too hot.
It didn't bother me.
Oh,
no,
it didn't, Susan.
It's dry.
Did you just live in the air conditioning then, or what?
Between had a pool.
Girls got to do what a girl's got to do.
No, I'm not knocking it. I'm just literally asking, like, because that's the only way I think I could survive is like living
without the humidity, that we have here.
It is different.
It is a different heat. It's kind of like living in an oven. I always used to say
it is more like an oven, whereas where I grew up in rural Wisconsin was more like living in an armpit.
Yeah, Becca lives in the high country though.
It's a little cooler.
So I don't know that she has date trees up there.
Maybe no dates. Maybe no dates.
Yeah.
I won't tell you what living in Oklahoma is like.
I can guess. I've been through there.
Not very nice.
Yeah.
I've been through there, drove through there. It's not, there's not much there. There's not much there. There's not many trees to stop the wind or the weather, right? It's just kind of open. Is that right?
Where? Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, depending on where you are. I mean, we have trees, but yeah, when you're driving down the interstate, it's wide open.
It just looks like nothing. It looks like a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
not quite like West Texas. That's where you really get into the scrub.
Oh,
holy crap.
Right. Well, we got a new chatter.
Okay.
Anna Melodies. Hey, y'all. Hey, nice to see you, Anna Melodies. I like your name. It's fun to say. Anna Melodies. She's going to be like, no, you're saying it wrong. Very cool. Yeah.
Ooh, Becca has Bigfoots. Plural.
Oh, maybe she didn't mean to come on, actually.
Bigfoot, big feet. Bigfoot's big feet. Anyway.
The plural. The plural
of Bigfoot.
There you go.
What is it? Bigfoots? I think you're right.
You got family of big feet.
What do you call a baby Bigfoot? Just a foot?
What do
they got? They'd be called Littlefoot. Then wouldn't they?
Littlefoot.
Get on the little foot and get to the big.
No, anyway. It's not big feet. Bigfoots.
Big feet.
So anyway, how's everybody doing? How are you doing, Jack?
Doing good. Good.
Yeah. And Katie, how have you been?
Oh, I'm excellent. I'm still trying to get the house ready to paint. So I would never want to do this for a profession. I'd be really poor.
I just finished painting the back of the house. So the whole house is done, painted. I
Awesome.
got more painting projects to do, but this one, we can put this one in the books. Love it.
Nice.
Congrats.
I hope I can say that before it snows.
Before the snow flies.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
make it.
I'm great. I'm great. The weather was beautiful here today, and it was a nice day to be on a ladder.
Cool. And Susan, how the heck are you? Hey,
I'm just fine and dandy.
fine and
Thank
dandy.
you. Yep.
That was my Wisconsin. How you doing? Hey,
Yeah.
where are you going?
Hey,
You going to town? Oh, okay.
don't you know?
Don't you know?
Yeah, it's like 69 degrees here. It's pretty nice. Cooled off.
Excellent. Still
Yeah.
warm here. Still warm here. And that's all I know about that. So everybody's doing good. That's great. Talking about Jailbreak. Did you guys all follow this case before you saw the documentary? Did you follow this one in real time? Because I did.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it was
Yes.
all over the news. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard not to. It was kind of hard not to.
Mhm.
Was it 2020? This was during COVID,
No.
yeah.
2022.
22. Yeah.
Okay, so it was,
22.
still COVID was still kind of pushing everybody's buttons there, and yeah, Becca said she saw the Lifetime movie of it. Oh, okay. Well, you should check out Jailbreak. I think it's a good one too. I think that the documentary was pretty well put together. They kind of spliced in all of the phone calls between the two, between
Yeah.
Vicky and
Casey and
Casey.
Vicky. Yeah, Casey and Vicky.
Why do I keep forgetting? Because I don't think he looks like a Casey. That's why it doesn't fit him.
I agree.
No.
He's like a Jason or something. I don't know. He's not a Casey. Anyway, so Casey and Vicky, they're splicing in together all of these like jail phone calls, and we didn't hear all of it. And I didn't, of course, like I cut out a ton of like some of the stuff that we watched. Jack, it was just like over the top sexual. Like it was it was crazy what they left in this documentary about how they were carrying on.
Yeah.
It was a little too much for me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh.
I was a little surprised that they left some of that in there. It's like, whoa.
I mean, I'm not offended by talking about that stuff. I just thought, oh my god, I don't need to hear this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to hear his thoughts and desires or what he's going to do with Vicky when they go out on the run and their plan to get a sailboat. We heard a little bit about that. Well, we're going to be sailing around the world.
Taste cakes. Does anybody remember taste cakes?
Taste cakes.
Taste cakes.
That's what Becca's saying.
No.
Like
No.
they did in the movie. It was so awkward. No, I don't remember taste cakes.
I don't remember that one either.
But
But what did you think about their plan?
Wasn't planned enough. Wasn't planned enough. Wasn't planned enough. It was only partially
Yeah.
planned. If they would have actually just took off and went somewhere, she had already somehow purchased a boat and they got on it, they could have potentially gotten away, but they didn't do that.
But you know what? Think about it. She doesn't know how to sail.
I was gonna say, is Casey a sailor or something? Because she hasn't ever had.
I bet you neither one of them. I bet you know, this is not to make fun of them or whatever, but it just seems the harebrained scheme of we'll sail around the world. Neither one of us has ever sailed a lick, but all of a
Like
sudden
two
we're
little
just gonna,
kids.
we can't even get across the pond, but now we're gonna go around the world. You're gonna get caught so quick. Like this was destined to end this way. Maybe not with her killing herself, but it was never gonna work. Like they're at a hotel. Like are you telling me that you didn't set up a safe house?
Something. Out of the way.
They
They didn't go very far.
No, they didn't get very far, and they didn't do it. Like, to me, think about this: what if what if they just kept doing what they were doing and they didn't try to escape? They would still be sleeping with each other in the prison.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep. Well,
he
did have trial coming up. So,
he was going to get moved. You're right. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah.
And she wanted to retire.
She wanted to retire, but you would think, and love makes us dumb sometimes. Maybe love makes us dumb all the times. They were too busy talking about sex on the phone to plan an actual escape. Well, they couldn't really talk about it. And every time that she brought it up, or he brought it up, she's like, I told you to shut up about that. Don't talk about that. I told you not to talk about that. Change the subject.
They also couldn't get too far when they were on the run because they probably couldn't stop having sex long enough to drive the car down the road.
I think you're probably right.
I mean
it's true. Like, how strong of a connection is it that you're gonna look the other way at? Okay, I think in the video I said he murdered a family, but I don't think, maybe he just tried to murder them, which is a little bit of a distinction there. Attempted murder, he didn't succeed, but he tried to murder this family. He steals cars, he holds people up, he does meth. He, like, everything that you don't want. And she's like, oh yeah, that's my guy. That's the one. He said I had a nice ass, and then that's all it took. You know what I mean? It's just it's a bizarre story.
Very.
No kidding.
The taboo, you can't have that. So
I think maybe that's it. The taboo.
Maybe it could be. I don't know. I thought about it. I get it, but at the same time, I'd be like putting the brakes on and be like, no.
Like, and she was in such a hurry. Like, everything was just done rush. Like, sell the house for half the price that it's worth.
Right.
Then go buy a cabin. Then go buy some, rent a place with cash in the city, 2 cities over for a safe house. You know what I mean? Or something. Like, you don't have a plan, anything. Right. It was just like, just be together. That's our plan.
Turn in your retirement the day before letter, and that's it. Walk out.
Well, they knew a couple of weeks that it was coming, but at the same time, she didn't turn her actual papers in, so they didn't have anybody with her. And I think that, again, I said that when we did the review, I think that was intentional, so she wouldn't have anybody, dogging her heels all the time to see what she does and blah, blah, blah.
I'm looking at a story about his rap sheet.
All right, let's hear it.
So it says at 38, he has a long rap sheet going back 2 decades when he was arrested over a domestic violence incident involving his own mother in 2006. Great. 4 years later, he pleaded guilty to attacking a male relative with an axe handle and was sentenced to 6 years in prison.
Jesus Christ.
At the time of his prison escape, he was serving 75-year sentence for a 2015 crime spree where he tried to murder his ex-girlfriend, held victims at gunpoint, and shot a dog dead. And he was also due to stand trial in June for the 2015 capital murder of 58-year-old mother of 2 who was found stabbed to death in her apartment.
So he did kill someone.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And she had to know his background.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Says it right on the sheet, probably.
I'm sure they got his full record.
That's wild.
But
she wanted to go out with a bang. Maybe she
went out with a bang, all right.
She chose the baddest, the biggest and the baddest she could find.
Biggest and baddest old country boy she could find.
Yeah, I agree with Becca. He killed the dog and she wanted to be with him. That
really?
He beat up his own mom. He shot a dog, and she still wanted to be with him. And he stabbed a woman to death. You don't know him like I know him. Sorry, I shouldn't make fun of of her accent. It's not her accent. It's her illogical brain going, yeah, this is totally cool. He's nice to me, though. Right? He's nice to me.
But he loves me.
Charmer. Yeah.
But he loves me.
I can forgive you beating up your mom, but killing a dog.
I'm from the South, Jeff. It's fine. Go ahead and make fun of her accent, dude.
Oh, that's a funny comment, Becca. That I think that one wins today. I can forgive you beating up your mom, but not killing a dog. That's pretty funny.
Well, another whole thing, kind of running along the baseline here is that a bunch of these guys that were in the cell block, they knew what was going on. They knew. Especially that one dude, but I think it was actually probably 2 or 3. They knew what was going on between them and didn't say anything, which is, that's their choice.
I think that she presented a false front for a very long time because, they talked about how she was so humane to all the prisoners and the person everybody, went to, all of her employees. But then behind their backs, she would just bitch about them like, oh, God. But, and kind of do the opposite.
Yep.
I guess the people she worked with knew that, but the people that she was being so compassionate with had no idea that she felt that the way she actually felt. So she had a little bit of history of that, I think.
Yeah, she did. No, there's no doubt. I guess it's, I wouldn't necessarily say it's okay, but I think it's kind of natural. A lot of times workers will complain about their boss. And of course I've heard, bosses talk about, their coworkers, and for things really, they should just go to the coworker and say, hey, I need to talk to you. Got this problem here. We just hash it out. So we're kind of on the same page here.
Compassionate and caring.
So in this article, it says that she was a victim of Casey's scheme.
No.
That's their opinion. What do you think on that?
He was a romancer.
He was a romancer. I couldn't resist him.
I like I said in the review, I think he cared about her, but I think it was a means to an end. To get out, get free.
Was he capable of caring about anybody but himself?
I don't know.
In the overall, no, probably not.
It doesn't sound like it.
If it came down to her or him, I think he's going to choose himself. But I don't think that completely takes away from, him not caring about her. I think he did.
Yeah.
But that's just a quick observation from what we got to see in the documentary.
So
that's
earlier. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's got to be one of them, a very high stress job, right?
Oh yeah, God,
going in there every day, dealing with that. I mean, I can see how somebody could kind of snap. How many years was she there? I mean, it was
17
long time.
17
years doing that.
Yep.
I mean, it is kind of.
I bet that place was a real shit show when she just left the next day.
Walked out. Oh
what a big FU. Like, what a big FU. It's not I'm just retiring. It's I'm retiring now. And I know that that's going to F you guys up, but I'm doing it anyway. You know what I mean? She was definitely disgruntled.
I would say so.
Well, I think again that comes down to the relationship between her and the, whatever you want, superintendent of that facility or whatever you want to call him, warden.
Warden.
Yeah, I mean, he knew that she's basically running the show. What was that line of communication like between them two? And it doesn't sound like it was very good, because she could have, issues that maybe could have been certainly not fixed, but could possibly been made not as bad. I don't know.
It seems weird that none of the people who work there were really onto this, because she was doing all kinds of things that were against protocol. Like, one of the most severe things was she was walking in front of him coming into the building or going out of the building. She didn't have any control of him. I mean, wouldn't that raise a huge red flag if you saw?
Well, I think it was already after the fact. That was when she left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the last.
The
So
last
they wouldn't.
hurrah.
They noticed it when they went back to go. What the hell happened? Where the hell is she?
Well, the day before, when she took him out for a test run or whatever, she did that very same thing. She walked out the door, he walked out behind her, and then
Oh,
she
yeah.
just opened the back door to the car and he got in. And
Yeah, but I don't think anybody was paying attention, and she's the one that reviews all the video. That's what she did. I don't think any of the rest of them did that, unless there was an
okay.
audit. Unless there was an
And-
audit.
Yeah. And then when they came back in a different door, because I didn't really understand what they were saying about that if they came in a different way, then people would know. But there were people in the hallway right there when they were coming in that different door, and she walks in ahead of him.
Right.
That's weird.
Yeah, well, not to say that they wouldn't necessarily notice it, they just maybe wouldn't say anything. But yeah, by not going through the front entrance, they avoid the booking area.
They just it never occurred to them that, that they just had total trust in her and just.
Yeah.
So this
I
right
don't know.
here, this is what you're
Overlooked it.
talking about. When she's
Yeah.
not supposed to let the door hang, she's not supposed to hold the door like this for him and just let him out, right?
Right.
Oh, always supposed to be behind the prisoner, always.
Right. And there's their vehicle that she bought. And then
Oh
didn't
my
he try to? Yeah, it's so dumb. It's like by the dumb, like the brightest.
Right.
I'm
Orange.
saying, like,
yeah.
she didn't think anything through. It was just, I don't know. Did she maybe in the back of her mind know that she was maybe gonna die? Because she did end up killing herself anyway. Like, she had that plan. She had that. Why was she carrying the pistol so close if no intention on using it? You know what I mean?
That car right there is like having a white car with red letters. Pick me, pick me. Look here, look here. Oh my God, man.
It's orange, just like his prison wear. He matches. Look at him. That's two really good comments today, Becca. He's on fire. Becca's on fire.
She's rolling.
Maybe she has a weird prison kink.
Oh, God.
I think you're right about that. I think she probably does have a weird prison kink because poor Vicky. And then this guy, then he just goes back to prison. That's it for me. Okay, that was fun. See who else I can manipulate next. And I don't know. Okay, I go back and forth. Like, did he really care about her? To a degree, but
there you go.
To a bigger degree, she was expendable in my mind.
A means to an end. He wanted
Right.
out. He didn't want to go through another trial, that murder trial.
It's think about it this way. The one person who can get you out of prison is the person that you randomly fall in love with.
Yeah.
Except if that's the only reason that he was using her. I mean, what was it? They were on the run for 2 weeks. He could have taken her money and ditched her in that time, or killed her.
Maybe.
Yeah.
and been
Okay.
gone. I mean,
So he did. Well,
was
maybe he wasn't
enjoying
done
this-
using her. You know what I mean? He wasn't done using her. Maybe that's the other part.
it could be
That he still needed her to get groceries, and he needed her. Plus, this guy's been in prison for most of his life. Does he even know how to operate out of a cell? You know what I mean? Does he even know where, how to not look suspicious?
Well, I mean, when you're 6'4", can you not look suspicious?
Oh,
I
he
don't.
was way bigger than that.
Oh, how big was? How tall
He
was
was
he?
like 6'9".
Oh, 6'9". Are you
No
serious?
way.
6'8",
What?
6'9". Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Holy
big guy.
Christ.
So come on, man. You can't. There's no way to not look suspicious when you're that giant.
She looks like she's about 5 foot.
Yeah, she looks
Or-
tiny.
Or 5'2", or yeah.
She is not. I gotta see his height. I gotta look this up now. I'm stuck on this. Is he really that tall?
He is. Yeah.
He's like that guy we saw at the.
Holy shit! He really is. 6'9".
Oh my God.
No lies. Yeah. How do you?
You can't blend in when you're
can't
6'9".
in. Best
No.
off in a semi truck or something. You know what I mean? Like, you look smaller in a semi. I don't know.
Well,
So he needed her. He needed her to do everything because he didn't know what he was doing. Andy couldn't do it. Andy was spotted. He would be easily spotted. I guess they said when they found them, there was they had a bunch of wigs. So they were trying to. But just staying in, they had, like, how did they check into the hotel without someone seeing them? You know what I mean? They're just being dumb. Go to a campsite where you don't have to check in with anyone. You know what I mean? Like, there's thousands of places other than.
They
You
wanted
probably
to-
didn't go in the lobby.
they wanted a pizza.
So dumb.
Well, they never should have left that motel, and everything would have been just fine.
Yeah, they
Forever.
were going to get caught soon anyway. It was over anyway. They tracked them to the hotel.
I know.
And they pretty much knew it was probably them, but they didn't get a positive ID. But then they did a little digging, and then found out that they ordered a pizza, and then they were like, "Is it these people?" And the delivery driver's like, "Yeah, that's them." All right, let's wait till they leave, and then we'll arrest them.
If they hadn't left that vehicle in the car wash,
Yeah, they're just so dumb.
yeah.
It's almost like try a little harder, make the story a little better, guys. You didn't even try. Like, a part of me, here's a question for you. Doesn't a part of you, like just a small part of you, kind of want the bad guy to get away when they're being chased? Like, I kind of have this, I kind of want to see him evade the cops, even though I want him to get caught in the end. I'm kind of like, see how long you can keep it going. Ultimately, 98% of me is logical and thinks we need to catch him and stop him right away. But this little part of me is like, just like when you're a kid and you're running from your parents, or you're a teenager and you're running from the cops, or
That's the Bonnie and Clyde effect.
yeah. So they're good point. So, but you got to give me something. I don't even want these guys. They're so dumb. They got caught within, I don't know.
Oh, it's
What was it? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Uh,
And they had only gone a few hundred miles, right? I mean,
so they weren't like they weren't like close to Mexico waiting to get their passports to go over to the border or something. They
they
weren't
were in
like
the middle of the country.
they're just
They were in- weren't
Indiana
they in-
somewhere.
Evansville, Indiana.
Indiana, yeah.
Just okay. Here's as good as anywhere. No plan, no direction.
Did they
To me,
carjack someone at the car
they
wash?
They switched cars a few times.
Right?
Like, that's something he's comfortable with doing. Obviously, he'd done that in the past. So that was all on him, I think, handling the cars. But if you keep
I don't know
stealing
why
cars,
they left that Well, they bought
Doesn't-
cars, I think.
Yeah. To me, nature and the rural area is your friend. Cities are your enemy when it comes to being on the run. Less
Right.
people, right? Less people that see me every day. That's what I'm going for.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they
their
should've taken-
faces were all over the news during that time.
Everywhere, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I'd be like living in a tent. I'd hike in. I'd be like, we got to hike in 20 miles so no one finds us. And then we can just sit here in this tower or wherever and then wait like a month or two, literally wait a month or two before we move again. And then we'll move and then you can get a pizza.
They should have taken a page from the Unabomber.
He was,
Yeah.
yeah. He got away for a while, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He lived in a 10 by 10. So small. And he built bombs and lived in there. Think about that. Not only did he build bombs, but he also lived in there. One wrong move. Yeah. So I don't know. This one captivated the country for quite a bit. I thought the documentary was fun. They really demonstrated and showed like how much these two were in love with each other. And the phone calls are wild. Becca says there was a guy many years ago in Arizona who killed his whole family, burned his house down, and then drove up into the mountains and disappeared, and they never found him. So
I remember that story.
It can happen.
I think there might be a show about that, Becca.
It's a prison colored car. That's funny. That's the only color she knew, It was normal to her. You see it every day, all day.
Natural.
It becomes. Well, this one was a good one. I don't have a ton more to add. What about you, Jack? You got anything to add to this one?
No, not really. I think we pretty well covered it. I mean, it's just you're just left with questions of what was she thinking, and I don't think we'll ever know, not fully. That's about it for me.
What about you, Katie?
Yeah, it's a weird story. It's just hard to wrap your brain around someone who wants to give up their whole life. I mean, you want to retire. It sounds like she was pretty well set up. She had all her stuff and she could have traveled and met guys. I don't know. It's just so bizarre how you just get addicted to someone like that.
Yeah. I have a problem. I just kind of thought about. Wasn't she like saying the airbags are going to go off? They're going to kill us. The airbags are going to go off and kill us if you don't get off of this bumpy like ditch that you're driving in, right? So she's really concerned about her well-being, and then 30 seconds later she kills herself. Like she's
2
scared of
shots
dying.
to the back of the head, though, right?
There's just one.
Okay.
One shot.
Unless I missed that detail. As far as I know, it was just one. And then he said she shot herself in the back of the head. I didn't do it. That's his first words to the cops.
But they also determined that she did it, I believe, like the coroner or the medical examiner.
I don't know. I want to believe that she didn't, because I think this guy's so horrible, but is it possible he killed her? That's where I'm at, Becca Shoe. I'm like, there's got to be a little possibility that he did.
Why would he do that? Would there be a reason for him?
Just because he's a freaking psycho? I don't know, because that's what he's used to doing, is killing people after he's done with them. He didn't want her to. Maybe he told her some things about crimes that now she knows and she's expendable now. I don't know. I really don't.
I mean, I can understand why she would kill herself.
Okay, I could see that
You know,
too.
because here
Yeah.
she is reverse role. She's in prison for the rest of her life. Well, for a very long time anyway. On the
Yeah.
other side. Not sure. It's a question we'll never know.
Anna Melody says she was the one who was finished, though he just goes back to prison. And I think that's ultimately where I land on it, where I go, yeah, maybe he did like her, maybe he was in love with her, whatever. But at the end of the day, he got a 2-week vacation and she died.
Yeah.
So pretty tragic when you think about it that way.
How far was $29,000 going to get him? I mean,
I don't know. Not very far.
not very far. It
Especially
wasn't going to
when you
buy
have
him a
buy
boat
a car every 3 days.
or
Yeah.
a boat. I mean,
Well, if you just have Casey steal everything, I guess you don't need any money. Well, back in prison for him, and another one is in the books for us.
did he get charged with her murder? I think he did.
He did, but then they pled down on it. They used it as leverage for him to plead something else. So they ended up dropping the murder charge and charged him with something else.
I think for also him, did he not? He didn't actually stand trial on the capital murder thing, did he?
I don't think
What
so.
was that deal?
Wait, I don't actually know. I don't know the
I
answer to
think
that.
he just agreed to something. I can't even remember.
In the case
now.
of Vicky?
Took a plea.
No,
In the
not
case-
the one
and
that
the
he
other
was-
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he did take a plea.
That's what I was
It's a good
thinking.
point
Sounds familiar.
that Becca brings up. She said, Vicky probably would have only gotten a few years in prison. Is that really worth? Is that so bad that you'd kill yourself? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty good point. You didn't have to kill yourself, so you go to prison for a few years. Yeah, something was wrong with Vicky, and I think at the end of was it the end of this article, or was it somewhere else that I just read? It was like, here you go. If someone is experiencing depression or has thoughts of killing themselves, you should call the suit. Something was wrong with Vicky. Vicky was not as well adjusted as I think maybe she put on.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously.
Right.
Obviously. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to, have a little tact. Well,
What's
Katie or
next?
Susan, anything to add to this one?
Can't think of anything.
Can I change the subject?
Absolutely.
The Delphi murders or trial, Richard Allen's trial, started today with voir dire,
Oh wow.
and they ended up picking 14 jurors so far. They're having 4 alternates, so
Oh, wow.
they just have 2 more, and then opening statements are on Friday. I don't know if you guys have followed any of that case, but
It's been a minute since I was into it, so I would need a refresher on it. But yeah, it's definitely
just has
crazy.
very little evidence against this guy.
Is that right?
I mean, they found a bullet at the scene buried under the ground like a couple weeks later, I think. After
What's that remind you of?
Yeah. And say that it matches, it's an unspent bullet, but they say it matches the gun that he had.
Oh.
And then, they put him in state prison in solitary confinement.
Ouch.
Pre-trial. Right after they arrested him, he spent over a year there. How long was it, Kay?
Uh, yeah.
Over a year. He
I
just
mean, he
got
just
out
got out a couple months
a
ago
couple
and
months ago.
got moved to be housed in a county jail somewhere or a
But
little.
they drugged him. I mean, his health failed.
Well,
There's so much behind it. Go ahead.
I know I was researching the Indiana prison system, and the conditions. There are so many lawsuits going on, with especially in a like segregation, the segregation unit. It's basically 24 hours a day. Well, 23 hours a day. You're in your cell, and I guess the meals, you can't get any extra food. So it's, the 3 meals that come out of the kitchen.
They don't turn the lights off, right?
They don't turn the lights off. There are some lawsuits about the water in their cells it being cloudy with sediment in it, and it tastes nasty, makes them sick.
They had other prisoners sitting outside his cell, listening to every word he said. They say that he confessed dozens of times. They had him on medication. They had him on psych drugs.
They were also tasing him, tasing his hands. So, I mean, I guess you can torture someone into saying whatever you want. And, he obviously, from the photographs that I saw from when he was arrested to when he went to court, and looked just like he was just emaciated.
Oh my God, the change in his appearance was just stunning.
The stare was like nobody's home in there. He had completely, I mean, he had lost it.
Checked out. He's gotten better since then, but
and I think it's a good point, is like, it doesn't matter whether we think he's guilty or innocent. No one should be treated like this.
Exactly. No. It's so unconstitutional. I mean, the guy, innocent until proven guilty, right? And they've got him in a state prison in ADSEG it's insane that they got away with that. And the only thing really, they have that bullet. He contacted the police after it happened. There were 2 teenage girls that were murdered. And he happened to be on this, there was like a trail, that you could walk, just a nature trail is where they were abducted from. But he went and told them, I was there that day. He went into the police, I think the next day, and said, I was there, and I didn't really see anything, but, so that's the only other thing they have. Weird. They did, one of the little girls actually videotaped a man.
This is the part that I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But it could be 1,000 different people. He's not looking directly at the camera. His head is bent down. But the prosecution is saying that's him. But he worked at CVS. He was a pharmacist. What happened with these 2 girls? He's like 5'2" or 5'4". He's a little guy. And what happened with these 2 girls? They were posed. There was tree branches. They had opposite clothes on. Like they changed their clothes. There were tree branches in the shape of ruins on top of their bodies.
Oh, weird.
But to think when this guy did this murder, and they were across the river, up a steep embankment from where they were last seen. So yeah, I don't think he's the one. I'm waiting for the trial to see what else they have. I'm hoping they have other solid evidence against this guy. But the investigation, and oh my gosh, it will make your head spin.
Well, they got to put their cards on the table here soon, because after the jury selection comes the discovery, right? That they have to, and they have public filings.
Oh no, after jury selection starts the trial on Friday, opening statements.
There you go.
Discovery has been shared.
Oh, right. Okay. So then wouldn't there be more information? I guess only if the defense wants it out would they put it out, because the prosecution's not going to tell anything ahead of time. Okay.
This judge is worse than the Karen retrial. This judge she's basically not letting them use their defense. She said they couldn't use it. Most of what they have, in their filings, what their defense, his defense is, she ruled that they can't use that third party, basically. It's insane.
Well, it's definitely something I'll maybe have to check into.
And there's no cameras in the courtroom, so it's not streaming. There's some
I don't like that.
There's some LawTube lawyers, YouTube lawyers that are present there taking notes and such, but yeah. And there's only like 12 seats for the public, something like that.
Only 12? Was it like in the shoebox?
Well, some of these, courtrooms are pretty small. They're not
so many for both families. Each family gets 20 or something, and then the press gets 5. They don't consider anybody on YouTube actual press. So
I heard somewhere that if everybody, and maybe you guys heard this too, if everybody took their case to trial, that the justice system would
it would collapse.
It would collapse. Yeah. Impossible. That's why 98%
they want you to
plea deals.
Why do you think I rail so hard against plea deals?
Yeah.
But what's the solution to that? Because we want people to be able to take their cases to court. You know what I mean?
Well, if they're guilty, you want them to go to prison.
Well, ideally, yeah.
But
or get the help they need,
Yeah, depending on what they're guilty of.
I have another general question, and that is, when they call it the Correctional Institute, doesn't that make you want to laugh out loud?
Yes.
Like what did you correct? What are you correcting? And I'm very outcome based, right? As an educator, it doesn't matter how we get there. It doesn't really matter how we get there, as long as we get there. That's the important part. And they're not getting there at all in correctional institutions. People are coming out, because think about this. When someone comes out of prison, they'll say to them "Oh, how long did it take you to adjust back to normal?" Well, and then how many times have you heard people say, "Well, prison really fucked me up," or "Prison really fucked his head up. When he came out of prison, he wasn't the same guy that went in," and not in a good way. You know what I mean? Not like he's a totally new guy. That's not the reaction we're getting. We're getting he was not the same after prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not working. Obviously, what we're doing is not working. Discuss.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed, the people that have been exonerated, that were wrongfully convicted and come out, almost all of the ones I've seen speak afterwards, they're just humble. They're You can tell they're
Thankful to
just
be out.
really good people, and
Yep.
um,
Not bitter.
not bitter. Yeah, I guess they're just probably so relieved at that point that they're just grateful, you know. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna do my best to stay out of.
it's
I'm gonna
it's
give you
horrible.
guys the Vulcan promise here. I do my best to stay out of prison.
Same.
Same.
I've been doing a pretty good job at it so far.
Not breaking the law.
Yeah,
But
Not-
then you look at all the wrongfully convicted, it can happen to
true.
anybody.
it can.
Well,
Scary.
that's where you get into this really bad area of plea deals,
Yes.
right?
Even if you're innocent, you're better off taking a plea deal in a lot of cases.
Exactly. So then you
Yeah.
have that added part of how many of those people didn't have anything to do with a crime, and they get invited to go over to Jim Bob's house with whoever. Jim Bob's house gets raided because he's got a 500-gallon still in his garage or whatever, and you get caught up in that. You didn't have anything to do with it, but you're still screwed. You had no knowledge of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
the
I always do.
melodies,
When
once you
anyone
know-
catches me with moonshine, I go, I had no knowledge of this.
I was too drunk to notice.
Yeah.
And the melodies wants to know what we're discussing next stream. Jeff.
Oh yeah. Sour grapes.
I love that one.
one. Yeah, she's telling me I'd never watched it until I watched it last night in the review.
Oh, I haven't watched this yet.
Yeah,
It's-
next week we'll be doing
on
sour
Prime.
grapes.
Is this
You told them
Netflix?
No, Prime.
Prime?
And
Okay.
and it's available free on YouTube.
Okay.
So if you want to check it out on YouTube, or you can go to Prime with no commercials or less commercials, I guess, because if you have Prime, you still have commercials. You got to be premium to not have commercials on Amazon now, right? Prime's not
Yeah.
good enough.
I think, I,
Netflix too.
I think I only had one on Amazon on Prime. I don't have premium. We just got Prime.
Yeah.
I had one commercial in the
Netflix now
beginning.
has commercials. But
Anyway.
only at the beginning.
But anyway,
So is this a scam? Wine scam?
it's a wine scam, but it's even deeper than that. A few weeks ago, we talked about forging art, and that really made me think about this one because this guy on the right, and what's his name, Jack? Jimmy?
Rudy.
The guy on the right.
Yeah. Can't
His
pronounce
name
it.
is Rudy, and Rudy's got more problems than a math textbook. Let me tell you,
Oh my God.
he's got
His family's
some.
family's from Jakarta.
Yeah, so he is an immigrant. His family's from Jakarta, international, similar to how the art forgery one was too, right? Like everybody was from somewhere else, and Rudy goes around buying up wine after wine, basically going to an auction and buying like every bottle that's for sale. Do you know what I mean? Just buying up all the good wine that's available in the inner circle of high level wining.
These
right?
auctions. Yeah, these auctions.
Right. So then he kind of makes this name. He establishes himself as someone who knows about, and he does know about wine. That's the other thing. You can't deny that.
He does.
He is very versed in wine. He can tell you the difference between the 76 and the 77 and the 94. You know what I mean? He remembers every little iteration of this one has soily, this one is more cherry, this one tastes like a pine tree, this one, everything. He could tell you everything about. So he did have that smarts about him. But
Sommelier.
what it comes out to is fraud, because it uncovers in the documentary his plans at frauding people out of millions of dollars in fake wine that he got the labels. He would collect labels, he would soak them, bottles, he would mix wines because he was so good at his palate. He would remember what a wine tasted like, so he would mix wines to get the flavor as close as he could to mimic the flavor.
Wow.
So if someone actually tasted it, they go, well, that's what it's supposed to taste like. That's what that's what the notes say, because there's usually some literature with the wine that you buy. It should taste like this, right? And he scammed everybody, including some of my favorite victims in the world, one of the Koch brothers.
Yeah.
You know the Koch brothers? You know the Koch brothers?
Yeah.
I love that story.
One of them, I don't know, Ed Koch or Richard Koch or whatever, Marty Koch, whatever his name was, these philanthropists, so-called philanthropists, they got screwed out of a lot of money too. And so that was kind of rewarding to see these tycoons kind of lose. And anyway, Rudy is one of those characters. Like he is someone who, if he would have stayed legit, like that's the other thing that I think about. If he would have just stayed legit and not tried to, he could probably be one of the biggest names in wine in the world today.
Absolutely.
So why are you scamming people out of $14 million, whatever, how many million dollars it was? 3 million?
Greed. Yeah.
Oh, greed. I was gonna say, because I think he got the Koch brother for like a couple or 3 million. He got a guy alone for a lot, and
that's chump change to them.
It is, but
yeah, rich people losing money.
Yeah,
it is.
There's a lot of.
They
I mean,
don't like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, old Rudy
that was on there. He's talking like, shows his wine cellar, and he's got like, what do you say, 44,000 bottles of freaking wine.
Yeah.
No, FFS.
I never heard anyone say that out loud. FFS.
Yeah, that works. That works. Well done.
Oh, jeez.
Well played.
I'll watch that.
I'm gonna find the link to the YouTube, and then I'm gonna drop that in the comments right now. That's it's a free view on YouTube. I guess it's also on Amazon if you don't want to deal with the commercials or whatever. But there is another documentary about Andy, or about Rudy. It came up because I was searching about this. So there is another documentary floating around about him.
Well, there's another part of Sour Grapes that I like too, and it's this vintner from Burgundy, France. I really like this guy because what happened, I mean, this guy's got like hundreds of acres of vineyards in Burgundy. And, that is the wine capital of the world.
One of my best friends of all time is from Burgundy, France. Yeah.
So
it's really crazy beautiful.
It's not just about the wine, but everything's about the wine, and you can change, they're talking about these locations where these vines are, have grown for hundreds of years. You can move 40, 50 feet and the wine will not, it will be drastically different, but will, because of what is in the soil, blah, 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 the rock strata, everything, it will alter the flavor. And these people can tell. Anyway.
Absolutely. Rudy could tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rudy could be like, this soil, this one was planted in this soil in this region. Yeah.
Anyway, this guy, the way he found out, he got this magazine about this, I guess, New York auction that was coming up, and it had bottles of his Burgundy, his family's Burgundy, showing whatever, and it was wrong. And he's like, wait, what? So
wow.
It raised his, it raised his radar. So he starts investigating, and he travels to New York to talk to Rudy. He wants to know where he got these bottles of wine, Burgundy wine, because he's like, this can't exist. I know what we produce, and he does. He's hands on throughout the company, everything. That's their life. So I really like that aspect of the story too.
We have a reappearing, and I think I told you when I saw it, when I was watching it last time, one of the lawyers from or I'm sorry, one of the FBI agent who is, I think it's Hernandez.
Yep.
FBI agent Hernandez
Yep.
is in this documentary, but he was also in, do you remember which one it was? I think it was the museum robbery.
It was.
So
And guy.
yeah, it's the same FBI agent in these two documentaries that we've seen recently.
Mm.
That's how many documentaries that we watched that I recognize the FBI agents. Like, oh, I'm the case again, huh?
Well, you think about it.
There he is.
Well,
somewhere. There he is. This guy.
Yeah, that guy, Pierre, I think his name. But you think about that world compared to other, criminal, whatever, and it's got to be of course, a lot of money, but it's got to be less. Again, we're talking about rich people losing money.
Yes.
On a hobby.
Yes.
Same with the art.
That's right.
Right.
Rich people losing money over a hobby.
So in a way, it's not as I don't know, dramatic and scary as murder, but as far as crime goes, this one's an interesting crime. I mean, who would think? I guess anybody, where's the temptation? But the overarching point that I want to make throughout all my comments on this is, had Rudy not frauded people, he could have probably made that much money being legit.
No doubt.
That's where I'm just left going, why? And
I just wonder
it wasn't just him. It wasn't just him.
No, it was his brother.
No, I think it was his family. I think everybody was basically in on, he was not doing this alone. I think that the FBI agent did the numbers on it, and he's like, if you did one bottle per hour, it would take you years to just be working on this. So he had to have help. And I think that makes sense, that it wasn't just Rudy. Rudy was the face of it. He was the American, he's the talker. He's the one that had the palate that could taste the wine and do that part of it. So he probably had drank a lot of wine. And, the thing is that they had him and the family, they had enough money to go out and build a whole wine cellar for him. Like, he went out and bought up auctions to seem legit. So they had some money. They weren't just starting from zero. You know what I mean? They had capital.
Well,
so you kind of wonder, why are they?
That brings us an extended family too, which is another part. Remember the uncles, the two uncles that walked away with, between the two bank robberies, of $780 million.
Right.
God.
And there's my my favorite guy. Which Koch brother is this? You guys remember? Bill Koch. This one's Bill.
Bill
Koch. Yeah, he got screwed out of millions of dollars.
Well, the other one of them passed away, right?
They're all old.
I'm pretty sure one's dead.
Yeah, I think you're right. So anyway, that's what we'll be talking about that next week. I enjoyed checking out this one called Sour Grapes. I think you guys would also enjoy checking this one out. More fraud, some more
lighthearted in the sense of we're not talking about somebody getting killed or assaulted and all that kind of thing. So it's cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
It's fun. I like these. I like this one. Because we were talking about art fraud and then the art fraud and then the wine fraud. And, people will fake anything. You know what I mean? People will try to fake anything if they think they can get a little bit more money for it. So,
absolutely.
All right. Well, I've said my piece. I hope you guys join us next week for that. Any last wrap-up comments from anybody out there? Susan?
I'm good, Jeff.
I'm straight.
It's an interesting case.
All right. Well, I hope you guys check it out, and we will we'll discuss that one next week. So Anna Melodies, looks like Mr. Jinx is here. Who else was here? Becca Chu, of course. Becca Chu was on fire with the comments today, by the way, I got to say. On fire, on point with the comments. Thank you very much for joining. We'll see you guys on the next one. This has been Documentary Club. Thank you to everybody out there in chat. We'll see you next week, and we'll talk about sour grapes. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.